It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
Good morning and welcome to Travel and Cruise Industry News on this Friday, December 23rd, coming to you from a very cold Central Virginia area. It's 24 degrees here right now, and it's going to 8 by this afternoon. So, and the wind is howling. But we had all kinds of rain yesterday. When it dropped down to get cold enough to freeze, it had stopped raining. So we didn't really get any of the bad weather as bad as we could have gotten. Obviously, if there's any rain on the road, they've frozen now. But I think they've pretty well got the roads cleared off. So, but that's what it's like here in Virginia. We do have a couple things to discuss this morning. Port Canaveral Holidays Look Rosy. Some travel headaches. And then a couple little stories that have popped up here in the last few minutes, which I'll make mention of. And there's probably a few more things pop in here and there this morning, live at 11 o'clock. All right, folks, today is National Christmas Movie Marathon Day. So if you're are of that mind, go watch Home Alone for the 417th time. Or what's your favorite Christmas movie? I mean, I happen to like Home Alone. I think it's hysterical. How about what's the name of the one where the kid sticks his tongue on the pole? Anyway, what's your favorite Christmas movie? Drop it down in the comments down there in the chat room. If you're listening via the podcast, welcome aboard. You can always access the podcast via my blog, which is accessadventure.net, or wherever you get your podcasts from. Just search for Travel and Cruise Industry News, and up pops the Fat Travel Guy. And always in the description of the podcast, there'll be a link to access the video feed if you want to jump over and check out any pictures or clips that I may be using in that day's show. I'm trying to get myself into the routine of having a daily chat. We've done that every day this week, but we don't have a guest today. So the program, of course, is still brought to you by Scooter Out and Will Power Chairs. I've often said that I still at this point don't know a whole lot about Will Power Chairs. One of the cruises that I'm going to go on soon, I'll get a chair instead of the scooter. Many of you, of course, know my history with Scooter Out. I go back about 8 years with them now. I give them credit for being at least half, if not more, of the reason I can do what I do today is because of them. Without Scooter Around, I could not do any of the cruises that I've done. So that's just the way I feel about it. I started off where I had begun to have mobility challenges. I was in Key West the first time, and I had walked and walked and walked and walked and walked, and I was just done walking. And the next morning, there was a little old lady, turned out to be 93-year-old lady, who had a scooter in the breakfast buffet. And I was sitting next to her at the table, and I said, I have to ask you a question. Where did you get that scooter? And she says, I rent them all the time from Scooter Out. I said, who's Scooter Out? Well, it's the company that rents scooters at every port. You can get them anywhere you sell from in the United States, at least. I said, okay, well, I got to remember that for the next cruise because I just can't take the walking anymore. She says, okay, go down to the guest services and see if they don't have one, an extra one here on the ship someplace. She says, I know there's one because it's sitting in the hallway on deck, whatever it was. I said, okay. So I went down. We had 4 days left on that cruise. I went down to guest services. I asked them, sure enough, they at that time kept a couple scooters on hand. And I said, well, could I rent it? Well, yeah, you can rent it. So let's figure out what it's going to cost me. So they gave me a number. And I rented the scooter for the end of the cruise. And that's it. I was done. I can't go on a cruise without a scooter. Now, as I've gotten older and had other medical issues, the day's coming when the wheelchairs are going to be probably up my alley. But I like to get some experience on that before I get to that point. So one of these cruises coming up, we're going to have a wheelchair, power chair, instead of a scooter, just so I can compare the two. But anyway, if you have any mobility challenges, I mean, literally from just have trouble walking on up to full disabilities, and you want to travel, you want to cruise, contact them. Phone number in the description. My SRN number is there. You can use that. I'll guarantee you the best prices. And I tell you, it will make your life so much better. I see so many people on cruises that just are struggling like I did on that one and they need the help and they're afraid to get it. So scoot around. They're good people. And so will power chairs. All right, I'll be back with a couple of news stories after a quick word from one of our network sponsors. All right, guys, the lead story today, it has to deal with Port Canaveral. There's quite frankly, folks, there's not a whole lot of news today. I'm going to tell you that up front. But at Port Canaveral, cruise guests will still be in for massive crowds and potential delays as multiple ships will be embarking and debarking at both port on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. On Saturday, December 24th, that would be tomorrow, 5 vessels will be in port representing 4 different cruise lines: Norwegian Escape, Disney Wish, the Mardi Gras, Mariner of the Seas, and Wonder of the Seas. In total, on Christmas Eve, Port Canaveral may see as many as 50,000 passengers moving in and out of the port facilities in just a few hours. New Year's Eve is even more. The Escape, Disney Fantasy, Wonder of the Seas, and Mardi Gras are all sailing 7-night cruises and will return to Port Canaveral on the 31st. And they will be joined by Carnival Magic and Jewel of the Seas. Combined, the 6 vessels will bring 56,000 passengers to the port on New Year's Eve. And those numbers could actually be a little higher because remember, folks, that's based on double occupancy. And by them being holiday cruises, there's going to be a lot of families that are going to have more than 2 people in the cabin with the kids. So those numbers could actually be a little higher than that. Port Canaveral port officials are working with Brevard County Sheriff's Office to direct traffic at peak times. Traffic crossing bridges and causeways into the port area can quickly become snarled when parking slots are filled and guests are arriving too early for embarkation. In addition to directing traffic and managing arrival times, port officials are also planning for overflow parking lots as much as possible. Here's some tips on beating the traffic in Port Canaveral. Arrive within the designated embarkation, boarding, or arrival window selected when checking in for the cruise. If possible, choose a later arrival time that will be well after the previous cruise has fully debarked. Stay in contact with the cruise line in case of delays and heed any requests to adjust arrival times if necessary. If cruising with a group, carpool as much as possible to minimize the number of vehicles. If cruising locally, consider using a rideshare service instead of driving a personal vehicle to the port. Investigate off-site parking options, such as local parking lots or stay in cruise hotel packages. Check the port schedule before sailing to be aware of the terminal assignment and associated parking structure. And most importantly, remain patient, because there's going to be traffic snarls and it's not going to be any fun. But, excuse me for the cough, folks. I'm still coughing, as you can tell. I'm still not back to normal. I am better, if anything. Of course, this cold weather and the wind that literally is cutting right through my room is not helping the matters any. All right, that's a mess there at O'Hare Airport yesterday. The massive winter storm battering the U.S. is hitting major cities at a time when millions of travelers are trying to make holiday trips. Nearly 3,000 flights in the U.S. have been canceled today already. Cancellations are highest at LaGuardia and in Detroit, Seattle, Chicago, Denver, and Boston. On Thursday, there were about 2,500 cancellations nationwide, with Chicago, O'Hare, and Denver being most effective. Also, because of the weather, it's not just the airlines. Amtrak's had to cancel some things. Greyhound's had some cancellations. And there's schedule changes for everybody. So it couldn't have happened at a worse time, folks, as far as traveling goes. Two other quick stories to mention. The Jewel of the Seas had kind of an interesting day yesterday. They were on their way back from Cozumel to Port Canaveral. And first, about 50 miles off the coast of Cuba, they spotted a vessel in distress. And as usual, sent one of their boats over to check things out. The boat appeared to be in distress, and the cruise ship launched one of its boats to investigate. The refugees' craft was having difficulty, but once they got there, it was able to be successfully restarted. Cruise ship provided food, water, and other supplies, and the small boat continued on its way without transferring any individuals to the cruise ship. Later that day, another small craft was spotted, this time about 75 miles northeast of Havana, about 40 miles south of Key West. During the encounter, the cruise ship slowed but did not stop, and there was no direct contact with the refugees. Apparently, the refugees waved it off. So, Jewel of the Seas had two encounters with refugee boats yesterday and didn't rescue anybody. I'm wondering if some of these folks now are catching the drift that if you get rescued, you just get sent back to Cuba. So they're trying to avoid that and waving off the help. Obviously, if they're sinking and in real trouble, then they got no choice. But it looks like no matter what happens next year, it's going to cost us all more to cruise. 2 more lines of increased gratuities. So just about everybody now has increased gratuities. So just count on it being a little more expensive to cruise next year. We'll see. I mean, I'm still going to be bargain hunting as much as I can, but you just never know. All right, let's see who's over in the chat room. All right. Yo, Brooklyn in the house. Hey, Eddie. Sonny's with us down in Mississippi. Nikki's here in Jacksonville. Hi, Nikki. Die Hard is Eddie's favorite. Christmas Story is Sonny's. Yeah, those are a couple good ones. Hot Air Tom's with us. Good morning, Hot Air Tom. He's up there in Port Canaveral, watching all those ships getting ready to come in and out of there tomorrow. The ref is one of my favorites. Dennis Leary is his sarcastic self as a fugitive criminal. Merriment ensued. I like Dennis Leary. And everybody's complaining about the cold. Mike's with us. Hi, Mike. Excuse me. Sorry about that. I bought 2 computers. My main computer does not want to load YouTube today. Probably needs a reboot. So I went to the second small PC to get here. Well, okay. Lights are blinking here, and the TV service went out about 15 minutes ago. I think they use a satellite system, either Dish or DirecTV. We went to a terrific Christmas show last night, Adair says, at the Alabama Theater in North Myrtle Beach. Oh, that's right. He's not in Port Canaveral. He's in Myrtle Beach. No, of course. That's my bad. Adair says, Nikki, is Mr. Fish the restaurant your relatives run? I passed that last night and it rang a memory bell. There's Nanook of the North, John. It says hello to everyone. Hi, John. Of course, as my usual style this morning, I got John out of bed. Robert's with us. Good morning, Robert. Hope you're doing well. Hot Air says, news to me. I am not anywhere near Port Canaveral. Yeah. I know that. You're in Myrtle Beach. I wasn't thinking in time. My brain's not working, Hot Air. Those ships to watch here. Yeah, no kidding. And I know exactly where you are. I just wasn't thinking. I mean, you stay at Port Canaveral a lot. So, anyway. Sonny says exactly what I'm getting ready to say. I just want to wish all of you guys an absolutely wonderful holiday season. With however you celebrate it. I hope you guys all have everything you want out of the season. whether it's with family or friends or whatever. Just have an absolutely fantastic Christmas. I will be back on Monday. I am definitely going to take a couple days off here to try to get my voice back and talk as little as possible. So, at any rate, you guys, everybody have a wonderful Christmas. I'll see everybody back here on Monday. Merry Christmas, everybody. Thank you all for being with me all year. I so appreciate each and every one of you guys. Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas. Everybody stay safe, stay healthy, think about cruising, and hopefully one day soon we'll all get together on the high seas. Merry Christmas, y'all. Later.
I regularly post videos on all facets of the travel and cruise industry, so if you like to keep up with the latest in cruise ships, ports of call, cruises themselves, Chillie chats, and travel and cruise industry news, just hit the little subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner, hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when a new video is up or we go live. This video was produced by Chillie's Cruises.